Well, today I got a kind of fun little project. I'm going to take this Scag Edger, which is in like new shape, and I'm going to put on this Fuel Injected Subaru motor. So I just picked this up. I actually have plenty of them, but every time I find one in good shape, I buy it. Cleaned it. It's super clean. I added this. This is actually off a power trim one I had. I sprayed some Scag Cat's Eye Gold on it, but these aren't, a real powerful motor. 3.5 horsepower. It's from 98. So I have this motor, which is an odd one. It's really cool. It's a fuel injected 210 horsepower Subaru. So like 6.5, 7 horsepower. This is actually the motor and the pump were off a Ridgid Pressure Washer. This is a Vortex cart. This cart's really beaten up. So I have much nicer ones. See how it's been slammed around there. And also this is the old cart and it's kind of goofy because when you put the wand in, it always scrapes. So I don't really like this cart actually. And I have actually a Honda GX200 with a cat pump. I have a commercial Vortex. I don't need this one. So I'm going to sell the pump, take the pump off, sell that, put the motor on there. And then what'll probably happen, because when I put Honda GX200s on other Scag Edgers, this gets in the way. And usually what I do is I heat it up, bend this, maybe to right here, and then turn it in. So it shortens it a tiny, tiny bit. It works perfect though. All right, let's start. So usually it's pretty simple. Take the pressure washer motor off. I've never taken this one off, so I hope it's not, like seized on the shaft or anything. But usually it's 4 bolts. Caps are kind of weird because it mounts onto a mounting plate for some reason. I have no idea why they do that. So one thing I've noticed when you look at them for sale, you'll see a lot of times people don't have the mounting plate. Well, if you don't have that mounting plate, you've got a problem because it doesn't fit on the motor. All right, so let's pour out and let's hope, yeah, perfect. Just slides out. This is an excellent, excellent condition one. So, I have one that's even in better shape. So those bolts were 14 millimeter. These are probably gonna be 13. Yeah. So, and this plate is actually steel, I believe. Not 100% sure. Because I have another one that's all rusty, but it was an abused unit. And I'd have to look. But also, whenever you're putting it on, like anything on the shaft, I used to like to use thread locker. So this one's in great shape. Next step, take the motor off. All right, I just got to take the 4 bolts off, holding the motor on. They have lock washers. I may have used my little 12-volt impact. Holy cow. Holy cow, this sucker's tight. Hold on, I'm gonna get my impact, it's easier. Best tool ever. A little DeWalt 12-volt impact set. All off. Now I gotta take the motor off the Scag Edger. And I'm gonna put a new belt on, because that belt's pretty crappy too. So this motor's pretty clean. I'll start it up and should be fine. This is a weird one because it has a fuel injector, so you just turn it on and it's self-choking and everything. Yeah, so. And then I think when it pulls a load, it'll rev the throttle up a bit. If not, I'll adjust it, figure it out. So on these, I usually like to take the pulley and the belt, or not the pulley necessarily, but the belt guard and the belt off, the bracket, because if not, it's gonna flop around while I'm doing it. And I'll pull this belt off a bit. This belt needs a replacement. It's cracked. I'm gonna change that out too. So it's like that. Only thing I need left off this, got to take that off. Let me get my Allen wrench set. Sometimes these pulleys stick. Usually getting this grub screw out isn't an issue, but sometimes the pulleys don't want to come off the shaft because it's literally been on there for 25 years, depending how they were stored. So sometimes I've had to get a puller out. Then I'll clean this up on a wire wheel. Just get it nice. Ooh, hey, lucky one. Came out easy. Well, spoke too soon. No, there it goes. That even popped out. Holy cow. That almost never happens, that it comes out that easy. So, let me, and like I said, you know, this handle, I liked it. It's off of power trim. I've had them sitting in the garage. I changed the one bolt on the head because that's just a normal one like that. So let's see, get this motor off. So I'll have to throw a piece of wood down just so I don't scrape up everything. Scrape up the handle. Keep it looking nice. Yeah. So it's nice. This should be like 12, half inch or 13 mil bolts. 12 or 13 is a half, I always forget. But I think that'll be fine. So. Whoopsie, my glove got caught. And one thing on these I've noticed, they're grade 8s because the color. So that's a grade 8 bolt. You don't need the strength on something like this, but looks nice, right? Have everything consistent, and yeah. So hold this at a weird angle. One more left. And that's it. So, motor's off. Frame is set. And another thing, on this motor, I think they replaced the carb with a generic one. So the reason is that gasket is too thin. That's not the right gasket. It should be about twice that thickness. So it's really hard to tell. Maybe that's 1/8 of an inch. It should almost be 1/4 inch. I don't know. I think they bought it at an auction. The people I bought it from, they didn't use it. much and sold it. So this is a really nice engine because it's industrial commercial. You can tell it's got bearings here on the shaft. So I'm probably gonna leave this handle on for now, just to make it easy to move. So, all right, so I mean, it's the same mounting. And here's what I'm talking about with this shaft getting in the way. And on all these, when you upgrade the engine size, it hits. Not a big deal. Either bend this rod out, make a new one. I've done that before, or bend this. So kind of like go straight and then come back out. So it needs to get moved over a bit. I'll just disconnect this till I mount it and show you what I mean. So another thing is, I'm just gonna loosen this up a bit to get this bolt up, to get this belt off, because it's in the way and I'm throwing a new one on anyways. Just, there's a lock washer on there, don't want to lose that. So, it's funny, the one side it was stuck on, one side wasn't. Another thing I've noticed, I don't think this is powder coated. This is from 98. I mean, they had powder coating technology, but I don't think they actually used it on this. Not 100% sure. Doesn't really matter. Super durable paint, but here's to like, this is the original belt. I can tell by the color. I know it's a Scag OEM, and I'm sure it's never been changed. So I'm gonna change it. My guess is that's actually something hit it or mouse damage. I don't think it was cracking. I think it would have been fine, but I'm gonna guess mouse damage because I've had mice eat belts before. So for this, let me pull these clips so I can pull this lever arm and then it'll fall forward. Oopsie. But not a big deal. Another thing, I don't know why these were going up. I like to drop them down because it's a lot easier to mount the engine if you do it like that. So I'm a bit confused why it was like that. Somebody took the motor off. I don't know. Not a big deal. You know, it's a bolt to mount the motor. So, but let's see. This should fit just fine. And if it doesn't, I'll have to rethink my plan. Yep. Well, let's see. It's getting awfully close back here. So let me get all these bolts in. Usually I do this on a work surface, so it's raised. Just didn't have it set up this time. And I hurt my knee, so I'm limping a bit. Let me get that bolt. Perfect. So all fit in, all dropped. Time to throw these on, just so the motor doesn't fall off. So tighten them just a bit. Yeah, see, it's easy that happens if you don't tighten them. So once you get the first one on, it's better. So this Subaru motor, I'll tell you, it is from 2009. So it's 15 years newer, but it's just a lot bigger motor. And that's more what I cared about. I bet the motor on here had 20 hours. It was super clean, probably sat. I still think that was a generic carb, but I didn't take it off to really examine. So now that I got everything started, yeah, I can tighten it down a bit. Hold on a second. I changed the size. That's why it wasn't fitting. So, actually, I might need to get a deep socket to finish that. So, I already tightened these. Not a big deal. Let's see. Let me finish that. Alrighty, clean this up. You know, just I like to get the rust off stuff. Always makes installation easier. So now it's just a matter of putting it loosely together. So there's some copper anti-seize. I also cleaned this shaft off. Basically, I started the motor, took super fine grade sandpaper, I think it was like 400, and just, you know, ran it around a few times. That's what it is. It was 600 grit, and then just let the motor do the work. So this goes on this way, and then it needs to be lined up, but getting there one step at a time. That goes on. Oh, that's why I was putting it on wrong. Silly me. So you have long and short screws. So the short ones are bolts. Go here. Actually, let me pull this belt off a bit. So the short ones go on this side, the longer ones go on that side because it's got the belt guard that attaches on that side. So just kind of monitor what you're doing. Don't do these tight yet because this bracket, you know, might need to swing a little. So I like to just do it by hand. Another reason I like to do all this by hand, at least for the beginning, maybe I'll hit it just slightly with the impact to put it, you know, when I'm done assembling it. This is, you know, these are grade 8 steel going into aluminum. If you just sit on this with an impact, you're gonna strip all these bolts out, 100%. It's super easy to do because it's aluminum. So I'm not a huge fan of using impacts for everything. I like to use them for disassembly, and lightly getting stuff, but don't just bang on it. So here's what I mean. See, like even that. So why did it get hung up? You know, if you just hit that with impact, it's gonna strip out. All right, so that's nice and tight. I don't know why. It's giving me a little trouble. Maybe there's some debris in that one. But, so let me, you know, all these bolts are started. I like to do this side first. Just lightly hit it. Lightly hit it. Lightly. Lightly. So the belt guard's tight. This I like to do when I'm off. But I also like to put this bracket in right now, or the belt thing. And this might need to get bent a bit. So on the Hondas they do, or they might not. On the Hondas, if you put a Honda on here, it hits the exhaust. So usually I bend it kind of, I bend it up a little, but on a Subaru, seems like it's fine. Whoopsie. Shoot. So that's in. That's in. And then this will need to be adjusted. I mean, that's fine for now. I'll probably put a new belt on. Let me see, is this in alignment? So for doing the alignment, pull the belt, kind of play with it. Looks pretty good. I'll tighten this for now, and then maybe I'll adjust it if it looks off. All right, I am gonna get a new blade on here because I have one, and this one's getting pretty low, so I might as well. So on this, I kind of like to hold the belt that way, see if it holds it enough. There it goes. I would not hold one of these blades by hand, just in case. So, 1/2 inch hole on these. This is a power trim blade, the new one, and significantly thinner. It's just what I have that fits 1/2 inch, and I've actually bought these for a while. So I think it's a 10 inch blade. So hold on, just kind of. Oh, I don't think it matters, but I like to keep things consistent when I reassemble. So, like this was the outside, this is the inside from where. I'm just my way of doing stuff, but not really important. And this is a 3/4 inch socket on the impact. So I have a deep one, but I'm being lazy. Like something like this I'll hit hard because this is all grade 8, 1/2 inch, it's fine. Where, if it's going into aluminum, really be careful if you're using this because it's so easy to strip everything out. Okay, I'm almost done. So I adjusted the linkage, for this. It had to go out a bit. I started it up. Typical, I've noticed, sometimes the belts scrape here. That's probably why all that paint was gone. I think it actually heated up and was missing. On another unit, I actually put washers in there. Probably not gonna do it, it's fine, it'll wear a little bit. Only thing left to do is bend this. So there's how it goes. I mean, it needs to connect like that. Obviously can't do it. So what I do is I'll heat it up, bend that elbow out, and then right about here, I'll bend it in this way to here. So I have other ones of these I've done. So I'm gonna wait and bring one of those up and follow it so it's the exact same, just because I like to be consistent. But that's how putting a bigger engine on here. So this is a Subaru fuel injected, and I am gonna raise the RPMs a bit. So I noticed it seemed like it's a little low. I have to look. This is, that fuel injected unit. It's not a carburetor, it's actually fuel injected. I'll show you around the other side where it actually goes into the cylinder head. I think this is for getting pulse, or a vacuum or something. Not exactly sure, but almost done. I'll finish the video up when I get my other ones out. Alrighty, so finished it up. Few things. One, I had to loosen the motor up and push it that way because this wheel was scraping. And it was just dragging a bunch. So it's kind of close on some of these I've noticed, but anyways, with the slop in the holes, just pushed it over. Besides that, I bent the rod. So you can see, normally it's straight, bent the top a little, and then I did bring my Honda one up, but the Honda one, I'm able to put one bend right there. I had to put another bend. I did switch it. This is the same exact rod, just unpainted, because then the paint doesn't burn. So I had that one, and I figured I'd keep the painted one nice and pristine. But that's fine. I can do all the heights. You know, new belt, because that other belt was pretty dry. It's nice and clean. I did bend that little bracket so you can see kind of how there's some air gap there, because it was just getting too hot, and the belt, you can see, was kind of burning on the surface, which I didn't like that. So it's greased. There's only 2 grease nipples here, one here, and it's all good. I didn't adjust the carb yet, but getting there. All right, quick startup. Off, on. There's no choke or anything like that because it's fuel injected. And I have to adjust the RPM. I am going to take this off to see if there's any water, because I've never taken this one off. I've had it for a year and a half. Originally on a pressure washer. Only other thing, I need to get a little deflector. So Subaru made them, just deflects it to the side, because if not, it goes onto the unit and then it hits your leg, which is annoying. But anyways, I think this is the only fuel injected Scag Edger. All right, well, thanks for watching. Kind of a goofy project, but something cool. Thanks. Hope you like and subscribe.